Hey everyone, it's Chris from Chris Beat Cancer, and today my guest is Tara Mann. Tara has a pretty interesting story. She was a pharmaceutical rep for 11 years and had an epiphany and realized she could not work in that industry anymore. And now she runs a nonprofit called Cancer Crackdown. And what they do is they help connect cancer patients with nutrition and natural therapies and practitioners. They basically give support for people that are trying to heal themselves naturally. It's a wonderful organization. You may have heard about it through the Truth About Cancer series. So they're definitely a big supporter of Tara and what she's doing. And Tara and I actually got to meet. We've communicated for a while now, but we got to meet in person at the Integrated Health Conference in San Diego, which was a real treat. So Tara, welcome.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's an honor to be interviewed by you. You're one of my first kind of heroes in my journey, and I appreciate so much having your audience and exposure for Cancer Crackdown and what we're out here doing to help people just like you.
Well, that's great. Listen, I'm happy to do it because there's so few good cancer charities, and most of them just waste a whole bunch of money and give money. You know, what little they actually put towards research is just going to pharmaceutical research. That's a whole other topic. I'll put a link to my video rant on that below this, Why I Don't Race for the Cure. So I don't want to retell it because I want to talk to you. So, okay, let's start with this. Can you explain what pharmaceutical reps do? Because most people have no idea that there are pharmaceutical reps in the world and how they make money and their role in modern medicine.
Every company, varies to some degree. Everything is fairly regulated by the FDA. So I worked with one company the whole time, and basically we were about 4-man teams at the point when I left. And you have your area, so you have different zip codes that you're assigned to, and then you have a certain. For me, in my career, I sold usually 2 to 3 different drugs at a time. So you go out in the zip codes and you find your doctors and you discuss your certain drug. And you want to get them to prescribe your drug over the other ones in the same class. So antidepressant, that was one of the markets I sold in. So, and I'm not sure what they all are now, but like Zoloft, Prozac, Paxil, that's sort of who we were competing against as the other drugs in our class. So we worked out of our car a lot because we were on the road and we were calling on different doctors' offices in different geographical areas. And those were all coordinated based on the drug that we carried, what class, what specialties the doctors were, and all that type of thing. So it was all very carefully formulated, so to speak.
How do you get access to the doctors?
Well, it really depends. And even in my 11 years as a pharmaceutical rep, it changed greatly as far as access. So the access was sort of declining over time. But the way we would do it, if you were just doing a sample call where you're just dropping in to give them and replenish their samples in their drug closet, that was one quick way, and where you just stand and see them and have a quick moment in the hallway and get a signature for samples and be gone. And the biggest way to get time was through what we called lunch and learns. And so we would work with caterers, and we would have lunch usually delivered at the offices or pick it up and go in. And the doctors, when they had time to stop and eat, that was the time that we were able to spend with them discussing our drugs, and the staff and the nurses and that type of thing. So for me, I would most times I had one of those lunches at 5 days a week, and sometimes it might be breakfast. We could also do snacks, where we would just late in the afternoon I had an office, I would take milkshakes on Friday afternoon,
Well, listen, I've spoken to other people that are pharmaceutical reps, and they've told me that a lot of these doctors' offices, that pharmaceutical companies are catering their breakfast and lunch and sometimes even dinner almost every single day of the week. And believe me, if a pharmaceutical company or multiple companies were buying me breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, I would love them.
Yeah, that's a big part. I mean, that saves a lot of people money on food. But the bigger offices that had, we had one that had 19 doctors. So every drug rep ever has to get into that office for one reason or another. Their targets are in that office. And that was a perfect example of breakfast, lunch, dinner, a snack or two every day. That was to be expected. Yeah.
So that's how they do it, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And then how did you get paid?
So, like I was saying, you have a certain class of drugs that you sell in. You compete within that market. So we were paid base salary plus bonus. So our company was every quarter we received a bonus, and that was based on performance. So each particular drug that I sold, I was trying to get the best market share I could for my assigned zip code. So I was competing against the products in my market, whether it was, I sold a lot of them, but psychiatry and had blood pressure, Alzheimer's, COPD. So we competed with those particular drugs, and then how well you were paid was based on how much of the market share you captured during that.
Prescriptions were written, right?
Yes.
So for pharmaceutical, now is it true that that doctors get the majority of their information about drugs from the pharmaceutical reps?
It really depends on the doctor. There are some that are more do well studied and do more research, but there are some that do rely on that, and it just depends. But I saw it quite a bit, and I did see one particular situation that came to mind was a product launch. I mean, and back then in my mindset, it was like the doctors really need us. And the doctors that didn't do their research I felt, need us because they double dosed a product, double the dosing without knowing and getting educated by us drug reps that you don't start the product that way and could almost hurt someone. So yeah, there was a lot of cases where I would sit there and go, "Wow, they're relying on us for a lot of information." Surprisingly.
So, what happened in your life that made you decide to leave that industry?
Well, I had kind of one of those lightning bolt moments, and then I've gone back to it so many times and thought, why did that happen? But I came across just a random evening at home wanting to watch something and be educated versus just Hollywood movies. I was just literally randomly flipping through documentaries, and it just caught my eye. I remember the green apple, and it was called Dying to Have Known. So I remember the thought in my head, man, people are dying to know this. Must be a big deal. So that documentary changed my life, really. I mean, in essence, that 2-hour period, and it was really levels. I think back of watching the movie. First, it was like, no way, there's somewhere for people to go when they have late-stage cancer and the medicine tells them it's over. That shocked me. And then to go on and hear, and someone even said this in the movie, and he was a politician, but he said there are more people that make a living off of cancer every year than die of cancer every year. And I mean, I literally out loud said, you did not just say that. I mean, I couldn't believe he said it. So there was one level, and then you go on to watch the movie and hear about this therapy that there's evidence, and they're pulling out file drawers of records because we're so programmed evidence-based medicine, and you're pulling out these files of people, and they're randomly grabbing a file and reading success story, late stage 4 success, and I'm just like, what? There's evidence. So I was shocked, devastated, frustrated, confused. I can't even tell you how many emotions. But so it just led to me researching. And initially I would go to work and say, well, the cancer industry is just a mess. That's just such a mess. I still was able to kind of believe in what I was doing and feel like I was helping people. But you can't research cancer too far without going, okay, it's much more than the cancer industry. And that's a whole nother story. I think statins was when I went, okay, pharmaceuticals, there's a much bigger issue here than just the cancer industry. And I'm sure you know the dangers of statins. So after that, I think I just sat back and researched, and kind of, the world turned into a different color. It was sort of like, do people know this? And you feel very alone. I think even in the initial research, I didn't find you the first day, and I didn't find Ty and Cancer Step Outside of the Box the first day. I wish I had, but you have that period, I think, and especially people that have cancer have the same period of panic. I was healthy, but I can't imagine having cancer and going through the diagnosis and facing this, because it's just so overwhelming. So I went through that period of feeling isolated, not sure who to talk to. Did other people know this? And I kind of mentioned it to someone that I knew who had a daughter, a young 16-month-old daughter that was battling at the time. And I just said, I heard about this. I didn't know what to think about it, and I left it. Didn't say much else. She called me later and just in tears. Her daughter was doing chemo and told her what I had learned. And my interaction with her sparked me creating the Cancer Crackdown support group to connect her with another caregiver. So this was that was in January. Like the documentary, I watched it in December of 2011, and the support group started in January. So it all moved fairly quickly. As far as my learning and reaching out and really being able to help people, I think in their particular journey pretty quickly. And I think that's really what led to me stepping back going, whoa. I mean, I've just told people just a little bit of information, and it's really impacted their situation.
Yeah, and I love that about your story, that you were so quick to take action and to start helping people, with no financial interest, no real gain. I mean, just coming from the heart.
Well, thank you. I mean, I think my first thing was, wow, how unfair. I mean, think about the people that didn't know they had this option that, had passed. I lost one of the nurse practitioners that I called on, the whole 10 years. I lost her, and young kids, my kid age, she had no idea about that stuff. And I think it was, my background is science. Took a lot of sciences and research and case studies and problem solving. And I thought, I have a research background, and I'm still frustrated and confused, and I can't imagine going through a diagnosis and trying to face all this information. And people, it just needs to be easier for people, and they need to know they're not alone.
Absolutely. And so you help cancer patients navigate that information and sort of help them find the path quicker than they would just sort of searching on their own.
Yeah, well, and a lot of people, now we have people like you. A lot of people are lucky and they have the resources, and they find good cancer coaches, or they find the right practitioner in their area, or whatever. They find the right ingredients for them. But there are also so many other people out there that, I work with a young lady who's late stage. Her husband's had to stop work to help her because she's sick. They have 2 children, and they live on $700 a month. And this happens everywhere. So on $700 a month, they've got to live and then somehow do, organic and their juicing and supplements and their detox plan. So that's really, we offer navigation and services to the public, but through our Fighting Together program, where people qualify, we offer the services for free with additional support, where there's a need.
That's great. And so you left pharmaceutical sales, correct? I mean, you quit a 6-figure income to do this.
I did. And, when I was in my best year, I was in sales for 20 years, and one of my goals, it's just weird how things work out in life, but one of my goals that whole time was to make the big sales award, whatever it was. It's something different for every company, but I was in a President's Club run when I watched that documentary. I mean, I was at the height of my career, and yes, I had built over that 10-year period. I was 6 figures. I was used to having a company car and gas and maintenance paid for 10 years, and very nice benefits package. But for me, and even every sales job I've ever done, you have to believe in your product. You have to believe in your product, and you have to believe in what you're doing. And I believe those 10 years as a drug rep that I was helping people, with depression. I was helping people get on the best beta blocker, or I really believe that. And when that started to chip away, my sales ability started to chip away, and it was just harder and harder for me to go out there and do that. And I knew, everybody wants to be a pharmaceutical rep. It's like the rah-rah job. And I knew there was this big, long line of people that would gladly step in to my place and do what I was doing, and that I could move on and just do something that I think really takes my abilities and background and applies it in a way that's so much more meaningful than what I was doing. And I absolutely believe in what I'm doing now. So,
well, it shows, and if you're willing to do something for free, I mean, that's something you really have a strong passion and belief about, and
yeah. Well, it's been everything. The path that we've been on with Cancer Crackdown, myself personally, and my husband, and just how it's affected our family, it's been a learning experience. And I really think that we needed that shift for ourselves, from going to making large amounts of money to not so much, to really be able to relate to people and to help people and to understand what it's like to struggle sometimes. And so it's all, it's all just part of the bigger plan. We just keep believing that. So,
well, Tara, thank you so much for your time. I'm so glad to know you and be able to share what you're doing with my audience, with the world. And so where can people find you?
We have, our website is cancercrackdown.org. And so we have quite a bit of resources on there and some tips for fighters. We also have our online store, which is, it really was born to help us help the people that have financial needs. So our online, we don't like push products or protocols. Our job is to help you navigate through all the possibilities with the help of our cancer mentors like you. But on our store at shop.cancercrackdown.org, that's where people can find the donate link. If people are interested in the navigation services, the links are there at shop.cancercrackdown.org as well. Okay. And so we just, I want to say hi to all our fighters out there, and we're so proud of everybody and our heroes and what keeps us going. And we hope that people will look at our mission and what we're doing. And if you give charitably, we are providing meaningful support every single day to people that truly need it, and we validate that for every person that we help financially.
Awesome. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Please share this video. This is really important, and it's a wonderful cancer charity that I support. And let's get the word out. Thank you, Tara.
Thank you so much, Chris.